Okay, so welcome to another episode of the Memery Hole, September 2021, week 2. It's going to be a solo episode this week, so hopefully I can keep you entertained for the next hour or so. So, I guess I should mention that the Queen died last week, so I'm going to top load this with some Queen memes, and then we'll get into 2021 September. So, Simpsons posting, I'll take your bank holiday, but I won't be mourning your mother's death. People are pretty upset about the football being cancelled as well, but been given a day off. I think it's the 20th. People have been given off. 20th. Queen's funeral. Not Queen's funeral home. Fuck off. Do not want to give you my location, Google. Biden's going to the funeral. When is it going to be? Don't know. Biden would never ride a bus. UK and US play down strict rules for Queen's funeral. When is... I'll do it later. When is the funeral going to be? How hard is it to give me the information, The Guardian? When is it? Monday. So next Monday, 19th September, 11 a.m. And with a bank holiday. Okay, so we got Diana open up these pearly gates right now. Princess Diana, of course, was famously. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not. I don't know if that's something that Susan cares about. The Queen's personal assets will now be passed down to Charles III once he officially takes the throne. Due to a special legal clause that aims to avoid erosion of the family's worth, he won't pay the 5% inheritance tax. Of course. One rule for them, another for us. We, of course, have to pay massive amounts of taxes on absolutely everything, and they continue to not pay any tax. Great. Despite 70 years as a monarch, Queen Elizabeth has had precious little time for the, I'm not going to say that word for fear of being yeeted, but, yeah. Should we care that the monarch has betrayed little interest in Jewish history or culture? I mean, why would she? She's not Jewish. It's usually quite weird if people have a obsession with Jewish culture when they're not Jewish. I mean, there is a German family, the Windsors. Yeah, so this guy on the right actually is, who's actually direct heir of what some people believe should be the throne, because obviously there was some historical things that happened where the Windsors ended up being on the throne. But this guy, obviously much better looking than the royal family we have now, actually has a chin, for example. Yeah, this image of the Queen in McDonald's commemorating her death. Put this image in an art gallery. Justin, IRA terrorist Sam Hyde has assassinated the Queen. Very good. Sam Hyde famously is a Candyman character. He won his fight in the UK last week and has been calling out a sandpiper, which has been very amusing. But yeah, he's taken on this Irish persona, which has been very amusing to watch. We have another page of these memes. Just a little bit further, Liz. I'm coming, Philip. I'm ready. Whoa there. Was that Diana? Was that Diana? Was what Diana? Sir, the Queen is dead. What? The whole band? 2 of them now, yes? Fucking love IT Ruddy posting. Royalists say, you do know we're burying a great woman today. The rest of us, did someone else die? Oh, this was sent to me on 9/11 as well. Mix the 9/11 caused by the royal Prince, not Harry, what's he called? Prince William, phone calls. And be looking forward to the Netflix adaptation of Elizabeth's life as played by a black woman, as is everything on Netflix nowadays, is adapted to have black people playing white people, but interestingly not the other way around. I can't say why that is, but interesting point. Okay, so let's jump into why we're here. So we're here to look at last year's memes. So we saw last year that the I word that we can't say probably still for we might be yeeted. I'm sorry, Susan. We whatever the science says about this drug is what the science says, and yeah, but its search term increased massively this time last year. No thanks to Joe Rogan. But it overtook critical race theory, so lost interest in that whole thing. So here we have Keir Starmer complaining. So Boris Johnson's tax rise means a landlord who owns and rents out dozens of properties won't pay a penny more, but the tenants working in full-time jobs will. They're hitting young and low-paid workers while leaving the wealthy untouched. 11 years of Tory unfairness continues. So now he decides to start coming out against Boris Johnson's government, and for the previous 2 years they were basically asking the Labour government to do more and more lockdowns. It wasn't good enough. We need to do more. You need to pay people more. Like, it's just it's unbelievable. It's a sorry excuse for an opposition, but I mean, it's hard to oppose a party that you pretty much agree with in principle, but just the extent of which things are happening. That's kind of the thing these days. Both parties are no different in principle, only different in how much they're fucking us over, basically. Taliban have started replacing murals on Kabul streets with paintings of their flags and Islamic slogans as the new rulers continue to impose their austere vision on Afghanistan. The murals addressed everything from the killing of George Floyd in the US and the drowning of Afghan refugees in Iran to the signing of the US-Taliban agreement towards peace and murder of a Japanese aid worker. So, where's Kabul? Kabul is in Iran. Kabul. Oh no, it's Afghanistan. So, I guess this is just the sort of the propaganda that these organisations use to basically call on to America's hypocrisy. It's annoying. Like it's like the conservatives will try and point out the hypocrisy of the left, and it never seems to stick. But it seems to be very good at rallying people in the Middle East to hate America. Yeah, unfortunate. But they kind of have a point, right? Residents in apartment blocks locked down by the NSW Health are having their alcohol deliveries policed. Residents are allowed to receive one of the following: 6 beers, 1 bottle of wine, or 1 375ml bottle of spirits. Excess alcohol is confiscated. So hang on, where's this? NSW Health. NSW Health. So that's New South Wales. Yeah, fucking Australia went absolutely mental. I'm surprised this didn't trigger, a massive revolt by Australians, because if they can't drink their alcohol, I'm pretty sure that would have sparked massive outrage, but apparently not. Seems that the Australians are as cooked as the rest of the Western world these days, just bending over, taking lockdowns. Women signing a petition to free violent criminals right after complaining how it's not safe for them to walk at night. Yes, what happened last year? There was something happened this time last year. UK, September. Murder. Someone weren't murdered. There's so many these days. It's so hard to keep up with. Let's have a look. Oh wow. Wow, what the fuck is this website? Metropolitan Police News Archive. They have a huge... Wow. 2 charged murder, Jeremy Seal and Lewisham, but the justice charged. Yeah, I think something happened where a woman was murdered, and usually what happens is that MPs stand up and say, oh, we need to put a curfew on men. But yeah, as this means that women were signing a petition to free violent criminals. I'm not sure, a petition to free violent criminals. That's 2020. Let's try putting 2021. 2021. Oh, was it something to do with COVID? Protecting Catholic communities from COVID-19. Sign the petition to agree public officials to take steps to protect people in prison or jail from the virus. This is in America. Wow, 38,000 signatures. Decarcerate now, COVID-19. Yeah, when was the petition started? It was 2 years ago. Yeah. As his poll numbers sink, is Joe Biden in trouble? If he is, it's good trouble. So this is the usual gaslighting the media do, is that, anything that's bad is actually good, and if you think it's bad, then you're a bad person. You're moral failing for not agreeing with the sort of narrative. So I was in a feud with this guy last year, this absolute moron. Basically some PhD, what do they call him, epidemiologist, which is basically prophecy, statistical modelling as applied to health, public health. Absolute ridiculous field of study. These people, they study statistics and they apply them to areas of concern which they don't actually have any understanding of really, and they just have these big models and they have loads of inputs and they twiddle with all the the variables until they get some scary outcome which they can then give to a government to then decide policy on. But so I think this is one of the rare things where I actually agreed with him, but he manages to lose me at the end. So he says, "Today I've been sent what looks like real data collected by real doctors. And I say that because it looks very much like a keyboard-happy 4-year-old has gone wild at a paper spreadsheet and with his crayons and glue and someone uploaded it onto Excel." So we all know the meme of doctors not being able to, write out a prescription that's legible to anyone except the pharmacist. So it seems that they're equally as bad as filling out an Excel sheet. But so there was a time where I was looking at a lot of the data coming out for COVID and trying to make sense of it. And yeah, the organisation of the data in those things was absolutely awful. Even like they wouldn't be consistent. So like 1 year they just changed the formatting. So if you wanted to, use a program to extract the data and then plot it without having to, reformat everything, it basically became impossible because they decided if they wanted to, I understand the idea that you want to add maybe more nuances to the data, but add that column at the end. They'd add the column in the middle or something, and then you'd have to, write an extra piece of code to like filter out stuff, and it just became a massive headache. But yeah, if you can't spend at least 30 minutes cleaning data before you can use it, was it really collected at all? I mean, I don't really understand his point here. Like, they collect the data, and what does he mean by cleaning? Like, what does he mean by cleaning data? No, I absolutely love doctors, and this is not at all a dig. Well, why isn't it? It should be a fucking dig. You either criticising the way they're collecting the data, or you're not. The key is to make sure you've got a data management person on the team so they can audit this stuff. Yeah, well, a data management person who probably doesn't understand how the data is collected or what it means anyway. So really what you want a doctor whose job it is to do this, not a data management person. Data management people are not experts in data. They're experts in statistics. They're experts in applying mathematical models to existing data. That doesn't mean they understand the underlying data. Doctors are way too busy to do the endless, tedious, time-consuming job of managing data quality. They save lives and shit. I just clean spreadsheets. So he's here just like, how does he know how to clean them? What expertise does he have? You need to be a doctor to be able to clean the data because you need to know what the data means. But yeah, this guy, like, I understand, yeah, he's got a point. The data should be cleaner, but who says that he should be the one cleaning it? He doesn't even have a PhD. Well, at this point he didn't anyway, but yeah. Yeah, I got into it with him a few times. He's very annoying. Just in, if they'll not help us, these governors won't help us beat the pandemic. I'll use my power as president to get them out of the way, Biden said. So he's going to get elected people out of office because they're not doing what he wants them to do. Like, it's just barefaced now. Like, the idea that we live in a democracy is the people who espouse this don't believe it, because they're willing to, you know, throw out governors for not doing as they're told. As far as I'm concerned, a governor is beholden to his constituents, his people in his state, not to the president of the United States. There's supposed to be separation of powers for a reason in the United States, and it's it's just amusing to me how, like, Biden is basically everything that Trump was accused of being this. You know, I'm no fan of Trump. But he was painted as this, like, sort of fascistic dictator who didn't care about democracy, and yet here we have Biden, you know, just spitting in the face of democratic processes anyway. So it's like, I mean, this is just hypocrisy calling out, which we know means nothing. Today, Joe Biden became president. Okay, he already was, but this is huge, a dramatic assertion of his right and duty to protect the American people from harm. Right. Krugman is abetting evil, but he's correct about one thing. Biden succeeds where Trump failed, because the left feels both the right and duty to rule. And until the right feels the same, it will always be dominated by those willing to demand power. Yes, this is always the thing. The right, when it does get into power, it's just constantly trying to make minor corrections to what the previous administration does, and doesn't actually assert any of its own principles. It just kind of tries to... It tries to roll back some of the policy changes that the Democrats have made, but it's always again not principally or radically changing those things, but reducing them slightly to make it look like they're actually changing things. But really, as Michael Malice says, conservatives are just progressives driving the speed limit. So all they're doing is conserving things from 10 years ago instead of actually thinking about what is good and what should be conserved, rather than just conserving basically leftist policies. News. White House officials tells me USPS workers are not included in President Biden's vaccine requirement, but we strongly encourage them to comply with these standards. So the people who are delivering all your things don't need vaccines. Seems strange. That's a massive chunk of the federal workforce. Here we go. So again, one rule for you, another rule for them. I guess they know that if they require those mandates, then they lose a big chunk of the workforce, and then things fall apart. So I guess it's at least some modicum of competence that they realise that they can't lose these people, because then they, you know, are in a bad position to win elections in the future if everything falls apart on their watch. Year is 2028. Justin Amash shouts at the guards from his gulag cell, "Hey, the Constitution says you're not allowed to do this," while the former members of the House Judiciary GOP scribble Afghanistan on the walls of solitary confinement. Yeah, again, this is the sort of conservative clinging to the Constitution as if that you know, a piece of paper with some rules written on it is even being followed these days. It's the left don't care about the Constitution, and they say it. They openly admit it. So don't think why you think the Constitution is going to hold these people back when they're openly for revisionism. Good to see that The Matrix also has COVID. So that's the new Matrix movie, which I have not seen and probably will not see. Heard it's bad. It looked awful, so I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. Like Disney's Star Wars does not exist. Republicans will literally be executed against the wall, and their only reaction will be tweeting, "Ha, red wave 2022. Here lies conservatism." Wow, imagine if the situation was reversed. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, imagine it, but it's not going to happen. Anti-vaxxer Trump voters, who are now likeliest to be hospitalised with the disease, tend to be most anti-Muslim Americans. The doctors treating them are quite likely to be Muslim. Incredibly subtle. Disease tend to be most anti-Muslim Americans. The doctors treating them are quite likely to be... Yeah. I mean, what? I wonder what percentage of American doctors are Muslim? Citizens of Muslim majority nations been at 4.5% of the US physician workforce in 2019. So it's not even true. Why? Well, it's The Economist. They don't care about reality, I guess. Garfield hates Mondays, but he doesn't even have a job. Presumably every day is the same for him. It doesn't make sense, Tucker. Certification vaccination. I was looking at my YouTube analytics and it said my videos found from the external source THOUGHTCRIME.SECURESMS. What is that? End-to-end encryption protocol. THOUGHTCRIME. What? THOUGHTCRIME secure SMS. Oh yeah, this was I came up with this came up on my YouTube and I was like, what the hell is this? Very strange. End-to-end encryption. THOUGHTCRIME.secure SMS. Let's look it up again, see if we get a better answer than that. THOUGHTCRIME.secure SMS. For details under figure 3 what? Oh, it's something to do with Signal. Oh, it's a Signal thing. Signal's data on Android is stored in a folder called org.thoughtcrime.secure.sms. That's funny. What? WhatsApp does use the Signal protocol. Android name. It's Signal's old name. Ah, I see. Okay. So I guess that's people who are looking at my YouTube videos from clicking links inside Signal. Remember to leave cookies, cocaine, and art supplies out for George Bush tonight before you go to bed. Destroying 2 communists in the country. Oh yeah, this was Keith Woods and Joel Davis took on Logo Daedalus and Infrahaz. This was ridiculous. It was just word salad. I don't know. I watched this. It was just. It was so stunning to see as well, because like the people on the communist side, their chat was thinking that they were winning and they were saying nothing, and yeah, I don't know. People just it's just tribalism, I guess. It's no one actually can defend communism, but they can just say a bunch of word salad. I mean, I'm just fucking word salading now, so let's move on from this brain rot. Going to tell my kids that this was the Manhattan Project. Jeffrey Epstein there with Steven Pinker and Lawrence Krauss. Yeah, like fucking. I was in Steven Pinker's like his idea, you know, that the world's getting better and better, but he just picks a load of things that are getting better. It's like, yeah, great. Completely ignores a lot of things. Doesn't take into account the potential of people getting hold of nuclear weapons and destroying the entire Earth. The potential that is also making progress. So the potential for an existential threat increases as well. So to say that the world is just overall getting better, I mean, inflation's super high right now. I'm in Japan and the yen is really weak. The pound is really weak. So things are not getting better across the board. But yeah, Lawrence Krauss just fucking, yeah. Used to like his books as well, but I mean, he's just another one of these sort of scientism people that just think that, you know, oh, if we all just study physics, we'll be able to solve all the problems. It's completely misses the point, really. Just because we understand physics doesn't mean we're going to be able to understand human interactions and politics and economics and things like that. That they are not subsumed by Lagrangians and equations of motion and what have you. Oh yeah, the Antony Fantano diss. Let's get that up, actually. Anthony Fantano. This was in Sam Hyde. Was dissing Anthony Fantano.
Sipping Fiji water, no Aquafina. I'ma be that Fantano, don't care about subpoena.
Your favorite songs by Dua Lipa. Old boy with a fupa. I see ya.
I'ma mute to Fantano for grabbing me. Tweeting at me, but the nigga ain't at it.
Put him in the headlock.
He started stabbing me. It kinda tickled, I thought he was mad at me. He falling off. Gravity. Feeling Fantano with a lot of
Anthony Fantano is a music review.
How it had to be.
Fantano, I'd be suicide.
Music review. He like reviews music. Bit of a edgelord, but yeah, one of Sam Hyde's callouts. But I don't think it resulted in anything. Yeah, let's move on. Oh yeah, this was a video. So if you're driving 80 miles per hour, how long does it take for you to go 80 miles? Like, these girls really struggled for a long time. They were like, 15 minutes or something. It was ridiculous. It's unbelievable how stupid some people are. But then I guess it's on some kind of strip, so maybe they were just drunk. I don't know. Marvel Infinity War is the most ambitious crossover event in history. The privately funded COVID commissioning planning group is being directed by Philip Zelikow, who is the executive director of the controversial 9/11 Commission. Not a scientist, his expertise is defense, security, war and terrorism. How is he qualified for the post? Of course we're after Saddam. Bin Laden. Bush reports they've got their sights on after 9/11. Yeah, 9/11. Bin Laden does 9/11. We invade Iraq. Work that one out. An upstate New York hospital said it will pause the delivery of babies in 2 weeks because of a spate of resignations by maternity unit workers who are objecting to COVID-19 vaccination mandates. Whatever happened to that? So, were there ever New York hospital maternity objecting to COVID-19 vaccine mandate? So it's the thing, like, why does the news what we're trying to do is have a laugh, but why don't we look at news properly like a year from now? Whoa, what? New York hospitals to pause baby deliveries after maternity workers resign. Pause delivery of babies for 2 weeks. Imagine that, we're just going to pause the delivery of babies for 2 weeks. Fuck. Louis Selfridge, who held a news conference Friday, said 6 employees in the maternity unit resigned rather than get a COVID-19 vaccine, and another 7 are undecided. We can pause the service and now focus on recruiting nurses who are vaccinated. We'll be able to re-engage in delivering babies. KEIR said 165 hospital employees, or 20% of the facility workforce, have yet to be vaccinated. And that's it. Like, can we have some follow-up? Like, why is there not a follow-up story to this? Like, what happened to these nurses? I want to know. Okay, so there's a small upstate New York stopped delivering babies after 6 workers quit rather than be vaccinated. So that was updated in October. I guess nothing happened. So they paused for 2 weeks, but like, what? You'd have thought there'd be a follow-up. So they paused it for 2 weeks, and then what? We're unable to safely staff the service after 24th of September. The number of resignation received leaves no choice but to pause delivering babies. But how do you pause delivering babies? Like, surely babies come when they come. Unless they're, like, talking about just induced pregnancies or induced labour. Contingency plans including reassigning nurses from administration roles to their clinical functions. What happened to these mandates? What happened to healthcare worker vaccine mandates in the USA? Oh, was there a Supreme Court ruling? Supreme Court decision about requiring health workers to be vaccinated. So even the Supreme Court required it, even though they're mostly Republicans. 21 states have already mandated vaccines. Some haven't. The Supreme Court ruling covered 24 states that had been subject to federal injunctions and prohibit the centres of medical staff from imposing a mandate. If we do not comply, we could compromise our ability to serve the communities. I don't know, it's so hard to just find the information you want. I just want to know what happened. Guidance for each state, the Supreme Court ruling, participating in Medicare must ensure their employees have at least one dose. I guess they had to comply. Incredible. I see the US is having its dumb little annual pity party again. Note the butchering of 3,000 innocent people does not trigger this hero's ire, but if you were to misgender him, then check his bio. Well, then that's linguistic genocide. What an execrable cretin. So this is in reference to September 11. The combined state and federal top tax rates under new Dem proposal. New York City 61%, California 59%. Imagine paying this tax rates. Your state and federal tax. It's madness, man. It's no wonder people aren't living in these places anymore. New Democrat Republican AOC wears a tax the rich dress at Met Gala, where tickets cost $30,000 to attend. Absolutely mad. And like you see, like they're already taxing the rich at inordinate amounts of money anyway. I wish I made this bigger, I can't quite read it. According to Fisher, capitalist realism has so captured public thought that the idea of anti-capitalism no longer acts as the antithesis to capitalism. It is deployed as a means of reinforcing capitalism. This is done through the media, which aims to provide a safe means of consuming anti-capitalist ideas without actually challenging the system. Yeah, perfectly sums up what she's doing. She's had one of the most rich events ever in probably, the dress probably cost thousands of dollars too. And a ticket costs $30,000. It's just, again, pure hypocrisy, but hypocrisy doesn't move the needle. An aristocracy imbued with humanitarian and radical maxims, courtiers hostiles to the court, privileged men who helped undermine privileges. The nobility in this period no longer had an ideology. It borrowed subjects for discourse from the Third Estate and amused itself with projects for social reform. So yeah, these people, they're the rich people, and it's basically pointing the finger elsewhere as not to have their finger pointed at them. So that's essentially what they do. They have these so-called causes to deflect from the fact that these are terrible human beings who don't really deserve to be in the positions they're in, telling people what to do when they do the opposite. Again, I think at this event, they weren't wearing masks, but the help was. So again, the mandates apply to the lower classes, but the upper classes get to do what they want. So, yeah. So in my algebra class, there was a student that decided to put an alt-right meme on his assignment. This enraged me. I'm now looking to get him suspended. Right, alt-right meme. Man, teachers are so pathetic. Imagine trying to get kids suspended for drawing a fucking meme. Oh yeah, I had a little spat with Tim Pool. Should I also boycott Texas because they banned abortion, which I don't agree with? Lol, what? If you were performing at an abortion clinic and they required a proof of denied abortion, I'd boycott too. This is a venue mandating your fans get medicated. You can say no. So, yeah, he could say no, but he needs money, right? Dim Fool once again getting mad because someone else will not sacrifice their livelihood for his ideological positions. No, it's for his ideological positions. Dude said he opposes mandates, but in reality he doesn't. And then I responded, I oppose taxation, yet I still pay them. I wonder why that is. It's like, yeah, you can oppose something, but still do the thing because if your livelihood depends on it, or you'd be thrown in jail if you didn't do it. It's like, it's all very well, like Tim Fool having, milquetoast podcast where he can say pretty much nothing so that people on the left and the right both like him and will defend him to the death. People, unthinking people, I might add. And he demands that other people make sacrifices while he does nothing, essentially. I guess this is when Nicki Minaj almost became based. My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied. Nicki Minaj says she's skipping the Met Gala over its vaccine requirement. I guess something else about... No, I can't see the other two. The Daily Beast. 3 lies in a row from huge news platforms. I mean, Yahoo News. Who still uses Yahoo News? I cited my young child as why I didn't want to travel, but notice how none of them mentioned that. Ask yourself why that was. Because the media lies. Media lies about everything. It has no interest in telling the truth about anything. It has no interest in following up stories, as we saw earlier. Its sole interest is to sell advertising space. That's what it does, and this is how it does it. It doesn't need to tell the truth to do that. In fact, telling the truth is bad for business. The corporate press is also the enemy of the people, so... Okay. Next time on Memery Hole. We've got some young Alex Jones. The Chad Alex Jones, before he got full of beer. Jordan Peterson, man who thought he'd lost all hope in humanity, loses last additional bit of hope he didn't even know he still had. Oh yeah, there's a lot of Fed posting happening last year. Please do some terrorism. No. FBI, the FBI rally in DC ends without incident. Yeah, there's a bunch of glowies wearing sunglasses, large muscular men, trying to incite some kind of right-wing incident. And we've got some Compass enthusiasts with more than 40 bins. I think I'll let the listeners decide what that's actually about. Yeah, got through it. I wish my co-hosts were here because it's easier to bounce ideas off people and talk a bit more. So this has been a little shorter episode than normal. Yeah, hopefully they'll be back next week and we can do a proper episode. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble on by myself, and I'll see you next time.